What's happening, guys? Welcome back to episode 2. Now that we have covered everything here at the Nexus, we are officially ready to knock out World 1-1. However, before we do so, I did want to kind of touch base with a few things. I did not have my notes for episode 1 pertaining to World Tendency. We gave a brief breakdown, but now that I have my notes for this, as we were going to discuss this episode, I just wanted to kind of go over it in more detail to let you guys know how it works. Now, for the most part, we're not going to really deal with this for a little bit, so you guys will have time to get more comfortable with it. But essentially, there are quest items and even locations that are locked behind World Tendency. So you either have neutral, which we're in now, you will always start neutral. You have pure white or you have pure black. So it pretty much goes up 3 from neutral to pure white, or down 3 from neutral to pure black. Pure black is obtained by dying in human form. This is, something you typically don't want to do if you could help, especially first playthrough. And then pure white, as I said, you got to go up 3, so that would be killing 3 world bosses without dying in human form. So for the most part, we want to progress through our areas in what's known as soul form. So if you notice, we're at half health in soul form. So it does make things a little bit more difficult. However, none of your deaths are going to count. So you can actually do all of your world tendency events in one playthrough and all of your character tendency events in one playthrough. It's very challenging to do. You have 3 playthroughs for your platinum because you do have to get all of your spells. And that's the only thing we'll be missing after this, after the walkthrough. And we are going to be doing all of them during the walkthrough, but it is very challenging. You have to be very specific and definitely go through the game with intent. So to that end, if you guys do make mistakes, there are typically fixes for world tendency and how to set things right, but it does involve quite a bit of work, multiplayer, farming up certain items that lets you gain humanity, and we will cover this in more detail as it comes up. But I did want to kind of break down world tendency again just to make it easier to understand. Now, being in pure white does give you a damage boost. The enemies are going to go down a lot easier. They don't have the same health or the same damage. Than being in pure black, it makes the enemies harder. They will have more damage. They will definitely have more health. However, it gives you better rewards. So there's always some value in changing your world tendency. However, if we're getting through the walkthrough and just getting all the items, we will just kind of cover this as we go through. So without anything else, guys, right over here, the very bottom left will be the only arc stone you could interact with anyways, but this will be World 1-1 Boletaria Palace. So once you take out the boss here, the first boss at least, you will be able to access all of your other worlds. But for the time being, this will be the only location you can hop to. Now, with that, when we take out this boss this episode, next episode, that's going to line us up to do a early game weapon run to get you guys better starting weapons for every single class. However, right now we do have to get through this first. And I will say for the first area, it's actually pretty cool. I really enjoyed it my first playthrough. So first thing we're going to be doing is just turning right around. Get you guys some extra healing right here. Like I said, you're going to notice we're in soul form right now. And your health is locked down at half. And it seems very unfortunate. You're like, damn, we have to play the whole game that way. Well, we are going to get you a ring called the Clean Ring. It'll let you stay at 75% of your health. Then you're obviously going to be getting levels too. So it's really not going to be so bad. So there are going to be a few jump outs here. Don't feel like you have to parry because, I do it at times. It's very challenging, but it's actually a good way to deal with a lot of enemies sometimes. And as you work your way up, like I said, a few of these guys are going to be jumping out. Just use your shield. Never underestimate how powerful a shield can be. Demon Souls and Dark Souls. They'll really help you out. So over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see stairs going down with a locked gate you cannot access in a whole courtyard, parts of the castle. That's actually a world tendency event. So when I said that, world tendency is going to get us certain things, areas that we can access and items, that's kind of an example of that. Like I said, we'll get into some minor world tendency events here in a few episodes. So once that happens, you guys will probably understand it much better. It's really not that hard to understand. Like I said last episode, it's probably harder to explain than it is to understand. So you have 2 gentlemen right here. Try to just keep that spacing, right? We'll smack him. These guys usually will jump. Just like that. If you want to parry that jump attack and shut down his combo and put him out, it's actually pretty easy. Just wait. It feels really late. It's like right when he hits the ground, that's your timing. So it's easy to get that parry off too early and then get caught. Now we have a guy over here on the left and a gentleman on the right. So these guys are going to be buffing up their weapon with fire. Good news is you could actually farm them for that, that same item. So you could have a fire buff. It's called pine resin. And they also can drop fire bombs, which, we actually want to save up at least 10 for the boss. We don't have to have them, but, we'll make things easier. So that's the boss door, which is locked over here on the right. This is going to be locked for a bit. So going left will be the only way forward. Once again, like I said, you guys don't have to parry them. If they jump in, just hold up your shield. It will interrupt their attack. And then it'll kind of stun lock them for a second, make it easier to put them down. However, a lot of times for me, it just feels easier to do it that way. Alright, so you're going to have this guy. Just hold up your shield as you walk over. There's a big hole in your left. Do not go down it whatsoever. It looks like there's a lot of items and souls. It's just a trap to get you killed. Thank you. Like I said, just be very cautious. Thank you. Alright, so going in, just hold up your shield, look to the right. A few guys trying to be sneaky here. Oh, dude. Yeah, he usually won't come in if you get closer to that doorway, but he got aggro for whatever reason. We'll deal with it. Now as you go through, there's going to be one more. Oh, I missed my timing. Thank you. And we want to roll on through. There's five fire bombs. A little bit of a tongue twister there. Like I said, we want to try to save those, not only for the boss, but there's one other situation here where that will help quite a bit. Like I said, it's not that you have to have it, but man, does it make life much easier. Much, much, much easier by holding on to a few. So fog wall, it's not a boss, don't worry. It's not like the other, Souls games where every time you see a fog wall, it's a, it's a guaranteed boss fight. Kind of like how Dark Souls 1 is too, sometimes it's just fog walls. So his firebomb should not hit you. So we're going to go all the way to the bottom, get your mail breaker, thrusting dagger. It's okay, it's something. There are certain enemies that are weaker to thrust attacks and, slashing, so it's just nice to have. Thank you. Now, if you're in a tight corridor, and your weapon keeps bouncing off the wall, just two-handed, then you have that, more straightforward attack. Now, there's a guy up top. I'm not sure if that's an explosive barrel. I usually don't play around with this guy, but what we're going to do is just run, hit R1 quickly, put him down. If he's using fire, he could really mess your shit up. So he's going to throw a firebomb, we're going to roll behind. Easy backstab. Now, I will say, too, in this game, if I forgot to mention last episode, backstabs are weird because usually it's like you're lined up perfectly behind them. In this game, you're almost a little bit off to the side. So yeah, the guy up top will throw a firebomb at you. Same thing, rush these guys down with one shot. And you should be straight through before he can get to you. But be careful because, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's explosive barrel. It's never went off on me, but, just be cautious. And then the other guys can really stock up. So if you can't get to them quickly like I did there, like I said, all you really got to do is run at them. Just use your shield. Stagger them, pull one back at a time, deal with it however you can. Thank you. You're going to have two gentlemen here. One does get firebomb happy. That guy right there. We had iframes on our criticals, so we're fine. For those of you that are new to the genre in general, iframes are, open up a door, opening up a chest, doing backstabs. You cannot take any damage during these actions. For those that, don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure FromSoft did not invent iframes, but their games are, widely known for, stuff like that. So there's going to be a boulder trap. We're just going to go up trigger. Put some pep in your step getting back down. And get the bastard sword right here. 18 strength requirement. Pretty nice sword. It's a great sword. Now, typically when you play a game like, let's say Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring, you find the Claymore, you find a bastard sword. You're like, okay, that'll be good by the time until I get something really, really crazy. In this game, those are weapons that'll carry the whole game. They're some of the best weapons in the game, especially if you're doing physical builds. Like, they hold up. You can get the Claymore right at the start and they'll carry the whole game. It's one of the best weapons. It's really, really, really good. So if you go up and kind of turn around, there's one item we're going to grab quickly, but we do not want to take this route. There is a mausoleum over there. You can barely see a red-eye knight. We have no business even messing with him. But there's a weapon in there. You just can't get it to the end as it's related to a quest. Now, you could kill an important NPC and get it, but we do not want to do this for obvious reasons, right? But I'm sure someone will bring it up like, oh, you can get OP at the start. Yeah, but you could also fuck up quests. We're not going to cover cheesy stuff on this channel, We're going to do things the right way, get you guys all your stuff, get you all your trophies, and more importantly, get all of your items. Because even if you do have that weapon, it's going to be utterly useless. It scales off world tendency, it does physical, it does magic, it does scale off world tendency, but you're neutral. It's, it's probably going to do nothing. Now, if you're pure white, pure black, the the swords can do a lot of damage. There's actually 2 of them, and we'll cover this later. But like I said, it's not worth your time. I'm sure there's some guides online for it, but we're gonna have to mess up Estrava's quest line. We don't want to do this. So either way, we will go ahead and go that way up to the door just to get your healing and clear our area in full. We don't want to mess with the Red Knight though. Red-Eyed Knight, they're fucking brutal. I mean, the Blue-Eyed Knights, like I said, they're elite enemies, so you want to take them serious. But I don't think there's nothing too stressful about them if you play your cards right and you're not sloppy. However, Red-Eyed Knight is super elite enemy. We do not want to face these guys. Now, this is how we're going to progress, but first we're going to go get you guys the Cling Ring, one of the most powerful items in the game. Probably a ring most players won't even take off because it lets you hold 75% of your health while you're in soul form, so this is going to be very, very important to have. But on top of that, in case anyone suffers any deaths, we are going to also get your shortcut. So these guys will typically always kill themselves. This one may have got lucky. Yep, just be really careful here. So as you go on down, there's going to be nothing but all these guys with the fire swords. Now, if they're trying to jump at you, usually you can time it if you're two-handing and smack them in the air. It's still, it's risky. And once you get to this door, we want to smack that. Smack that. It's going to drop you down some items. Now, be careful. If you're just rushing down the stairs one way, they actually will try to change patterns halfway down. And you could use your fire bombs here. But like I said, there's other scenarios we'd rather have them for. But, like, these guys, I guess we could try to throw one, see if we get lucky. I mean, I have 14, so... like right over here, they're by all these barrels. Boom. You got 2 for 1 deal. I'm going to try not to use any more. But it's better than getting killed. We can always farm more up if you really need them. Alright. Not at the woods just yet. About there. Ooh. Just smack the guy. Thank you. Pine Resident. What else we get? Mail Breaker. Then we go on down. Right here will be your shortcut. Alright, and right there's the Cling Ring. So it's going to put that on. That's definitely going to help out quite a bit. Even though this is your first location, it's actually pretty damn difficult if you don't know how to play it here. I probably had 20 deaths my first playthrough, just things not lining up for me, Jade Hair Ornament is part of a quest chain that's going to get you a ring, which we do need all rings for your platinum. We do need to give that to Stockpile Thomas. Obviously, your Cling Ring, your Spice, you're going to have Fresh and Aged. This is for mana regeneration, so it's a consumable that will get you some mana back for spellcasters. Fresh Spice will give you more mana than Aged, but they both work. Then you're going to get just a light outfit you can put on. Now, endurance is important, but we're probably not going to be able to put on armor for a while, guys, because there's just other things we want to work on. Weapon requirements, health, and we'll be working up stamina, but it does take a bit before we really get some armor. So if you can't find a lighter set for a bit, that, might be what you want to go with. But eventually, we'll probably have, like, our casting tool right here, a shield, and our main weapon, and a bow. Or we'll have our shield, bow, then 2 main weapons, and then we'll put this on as we need. So you're going to be pretty loaded down. Then you have to, imagine all of your armor and then your rings. So you're really piled up. Might be a little bit. But either way, there's going to be no point in resting as you don't get your flask refilled in Demon Souls, as we mentioned before, right? So instead, we're just going to keep pushing. If you guys feel like you want to go back to the Nexus, it's there. So on the left-hand side, just go up, trigger him. And that fire can hurt you in this scenario. Usually it won't once it's on the ground. It's just the explosion, but still. Now, the main path we're going to take is actually going down there. But I like to clear this up to a certain portion first so we don't have to backtrack. Now, there's 2 guys. There's actually one to your left as well, so be careful. Just try to land first. Probably safer to use your shield, guys, at the end of the day. Now, don't worry about this right here. It's actually a really good merchant. We're going to talk to him, the Dreg merchant. But first, we're going to finish doing what we're doing. He's on the way back, which we will have to backtrack, to the start. But we're going to get to the end, like right where that guy is. Because when we go on the main path, we're going to come right down and just go up. So you're going to miss out on this whole area. Thank you for lining up. There we go. So there should be 3 gentlemen here. Now be careful, they're shooting at you. But yeah, so when we take the main path up, we'll take those stairs. There'll be no reason to go back, up this ramp this way. That's why I want to go ahead and close this off so we don't have to worry about it. Because that's a pretty big backtrack, right towards the end of the area. So now that we are on our way back, right over here, like I said, you'll be a Drake merchant. So this guy has a few things. He's got the long sword, a few weapons. I think it's the warrior start and armor set, which is down here in the plate set. It's not bad. It's not exactly heavy either, so pretty solid choice. Pretty expensive. Gonna have to farm for it. And I told you, even though I'm highly against farming for levels, in Demon Souls we are going to farm. We're going to farm up healing and souls for buying items we might want, or for upgrade mats. There's a lot of farming to do. So, we might want to pick up something like this. Although, there's better stuff to come for sure. A few shield options. None get 100 physical damage negation. They're all short, or small shields rather. Then, like I said, a few weapon choices. Longsword, club, short spear. This is going to stop bleeding, although it's not really a problem. He does have fire bombs, and then infinite amount of healing as well, like I said. Now, next location we see him, that's when he's going to start getting much better stuff. In fact, if you're doing a strength build, quality build, and you want to use the Claymore, like I said, it's one of the best weapons. It'll carry the whole game. It costs 6,000 souls, and we'll be getting to that merchant in like 2 episodes. So if you guys want to start stocking up, it's not going to be the worst idea. Either way, guys, going all the way back to the start, we're just going to hop this wall right here, Thief Ring. Another ring that's exceptionally powerful. We're going to use it in multiple boss fights. This is very, very, very good. It is pretty much going to suppress you, so enemies have much harder time detecting you. They're going to have to actually get much closer to you to notice you're there. So the applications for that are, they're endless. Now, beneath you, over here, we're going to have Ostrava.
That was a bold leap.
Like I said, you can kill him, get the mausoleum key. Would not recommend doing it. Very bad. So he's not going to really progress until you take these guys out. So Ostrava's whole quest line is every time you see him, he's surrounded by guys. You got to kill them and, kind of just escort him to safety. And this is going to happen multiple times. Now, this is another instance where I did want to say firebombs. It's kind of a lot of guys to go down there and take on. So I'm hoping we can get more. So I'm going to save at least 10. But whatever it takes to, keep everybody safe. So that keeps us with 9. Now, we don't have to have 10, right? Like I said, it's just going to make things easier, as this is being the walkthrough. I'm always going to show the easiest way to take out bosses. Now, talk to Ostrava. He's going to give you the telescope.
I am Ostrava of Boletaria. Accept this as a token of my gratitude.
Right, forgive me, guys. I was hitting my drink. Gotta have my Mountain Dew when we do our episodes. So, moving forward from this point, you're going to have a few guys to jump out, 2 to be exact. If anyone does not like the halberd, I mean, later on, like, pole arms are some of the best weapons. But being early where you don't have much health, if you get caught, they can be a little scary to use. So, the halberd or pole arms later, yes, very powerful. But if you find it a little bit slow, you just keep getting caught. You're like, damn, we started with a sergeant class, but I'm having trouble with the weapon. Right over here, we can pick up the scimitar. So this actually is going to have 120 blood loss on it. Don't get too excited. Blood loss is very lackluster in Demon Souls. It does 2 health damage per second, but if you're fighting a boss, it could be nice, So stay on him. The Blue-Eyed Knights with the big swords, you could actually farm. That's the Claymore. You could farm that from him if you don't want to save up the 6,000 souls. But this farm in particular is a bit of a run back. When we do World 1, 2, there's going to be a much better farm for that Claymore. But yeah, this sword is not bad, though, for early on because it's quick. But yes, it does have that 120 blood loss. More of a dex weapon. So we cannot let Ostrava get killed. This is important. As far as trying to get almost everything done in the game in one run, keeping Ostrava alive is very important. And it's not about you killing him, it's about him getting himself killed, right? So make sure you're just constantly protecting him. Now, since we clear up these next guys, you're going to talk to him, we're just going to move on. Like I said, it takes a little bit more hits to put these guys down. But it is a much faster weapon. Now, blood loss isn't horrible, but like I said, you're not really going to notice the effects of it unless you're fighting a boss or someone with beefy health. So it does have, some capabilities in those fights, but against these guys, you're not really going to notice blood loss. It's not like it is in Elden Ring. Nowhere near like that. It's okay. It's a decent additive to a, strong weapon, but I would not do a blood loss build. There's no such thing in this game. There's just a few weapons with innate bleed. And I do want to make sure everyone understands that. Because I can see how that would be a misconception. Oh, I'll make a powerful blood loss build in Demon Souls because I'm struggling. There's no stat that scales with it. You're never going to get more. And then, like I said, blood loss is pretty lackluster. Either way, guys, so talking to Ostrava, he just said, I'll take my leave. So we're caught up with his quest. Now we can, just kind of finish up this little list we got. Now, weapons like this are fast, you know, and then it's even fast enough to get out like a few heavy attacks pretty quickly, which will do a decent amount of damage. So make sure you got all of your items. So we're going to go out to the right, break this. A couple guys will usually jump on you immediately. Just be cautious. Yep. Thank you. So it's probably better just to try to pull them back one by one if possible. If possible. Now we got that. We can head on up. So this is where we took our first route. Remember, we went all the way to that ramp, so we don't have to worry about going left now. That's done. Thank you. Oh shit, that's not a heal. That was just a waste. What the fuck is wrong with me? I should have checked. I forgot we equipped those. As soon as you go up to the first set of stairs, make sure to kind of just turn around there. Now there's going to be another Blue-Eyed Knight. Another chance to grab the Claymore. You can farm both of these guys for that. Now he should be bleeding by now. Yeah, I see that. So 108, 110, 112. So it is taking on their health, but, you know, 2 HP a second is just not that astounding if you ask me. Edge sharpening tools, one of the best consumables in the game. I've already talked about weapon durability, and your weapon can break if it loses durability. That's why, you know, every time we do a zone, we do want to do our character maintenance at the Nexus. You know, take care of our storage. We need to replace our durability. Well, Edge sharpening tool will replace your durability on the go. It takes like 2 seconds. It's in the form of a consumable, so you scroll through, hit square, durability back. But they're like 2,000 a pop, so when you get them, you know, it's nice to save them. So when you go forward, if you try to progress around here, a bunch of boulders will chase you down. Now, if you have like a bow or a crossbow or spell, just try to shoot it at this right corner. You can smack it like that and then send these out. But if you don't hit it just right, you will take damage. I don't think it's going to kill you, but if you're low health, it certainly can, right? So just be cautious about it. I usually just smack it, but I figured I'd, you know, at least give it a mention because I've also been crushed by it. So now you have 2 soldiers here with spears. These guys are tough because even if you block them, while it kind of staggers them back for a second, they recover very quickly and they'll kind of just tank through your hits. Alright, I'm going to actually try to get back to the halberd for these guys. It's just easier to deal with them. Why do you keep doing that, Brendan? I'm about to just fucking take that shit off, bro. This is not good at all. What are we stuck on? Yeah, that's not good at all to keep wasting this. It's like every time I go for a heal, it keeps happening. It's not good. Yeah, there you go. So 2-handed's better. It's going to get past their shields. That's exactly why I went, you know, back to that. Now, Scimitar's cool, you know. Just want to show it off. It is a faster option. Sometimes I'd, you know, much rather use it. But I'm okay with the halberd for a second. For the boss fight, Scimitar's probably better. You're going to see a path over there on the left. While we are going to get to that, first we're going to go this way. So eventually a dragon's going to spawn. Now, unless you're on the bridge, he won't be blowing his fire. We want him to, because we want him to help take these assholes out for us. But if you start getting to safety, he has no interest in burning anybody else. There you go. So once he does that, we're going to run. Then we're going to take the side path. So the thing of it is over here on the side, there's going to be 2 dragons. They're guarding items. So if you go to the bridge, you can pull that one over, because the other one's just kind of sitting here. Now this guy can smack you with his tail and kill you, so be cautious. But we can grab a few of these items. When we get to pure white, we'll go and, you know, we'll grab the rest. But for now, we can at least go ahead and, you know, get what we can. Carefully get, and then get on our way. So purple flame shield is going to be really nice to have. Really nice fire protection. Just watch, we're really close. When the other guy comes in, we got to be cautious. Now, you can push your luck. Wait till he swings out. You can definitely come and get quite a bit here. But as soon as that guy gets back, just roll right off the edge. They also gave us the flame resistance ring. If you don't get that, don't worry about it. You know, it's not a big deal. It's going to be really nice to have. But because there is an area where it's like lava-covered terrain, and we're dealing with a bunch of enemies with fire, so we want that in World 2. But we're going to get the rest of these items before that. Like I said, we're going to be in pure white. So when we're in pure white, this guy's not going to be here. Actually, we're going to kill him, and then we can just kind of avoid the tail and get the rest of the items. But, you know, we have to kill that dragon to get to pure white, so he's already going to be gone, the red one. Make life much easier. And honestly, the other one's supposed to be gone too, but I have had it where I don't know, I guess it's a glitch and he's still there, but I think it's fairly easy to get the rest. But either way, do keep in mind going across this bridge now, if we pulled him the other way, that he can still get us. Oh, see, that's why I said maintain your storage. That was not a guaranteed drop either. We do get that guaranteed later, but as long as you're past the barricade here, he's not going to get you. Yeah, we're not bothered. So the winged spear we get guaranteed in World 1-2, the next location from here. However, these guys could always drop it, just like the Blue-Eyed Knights can drop the Claymore. Yeah, we'll get it later on. So Unearned Warrior Soul, and you have just opened your boss door. Pretty cool cutscene, figured we'd show it. So that's the Phalanx. That's going to be your boss. Now, there are smaller versions of the Phalanx called Hoplites. We're about to see them here in a second, so I'll show you. It's just like the boss is like a big version of them. So you're going to have a few little bros here. And be cautious. As soon as you take them out, over here on the left, sneaky little path. Just one item, but we could use it. So the boss is exceptionally weak to fire, so I told you to save about 10 fire bombs. If you don't have them, it's going to make things easier for sure, but it's not like it's a big problem not to get past him. He's a pretty damn easy guy, all in all. But the pine resin can also help, because like I said, he is exceptionally weak to fire. So going on this hallway, there could be a few guys with spears. You see how they're kind of just coming out. Let's not push our luck. Just be cautious. There's others too. They're all throwing fire bombs. So as soon as you take the two guys with spears, as long as you kill two of them, he should be the only guy left. Sometimes they come outside, sometimes they're both in this room, but there's two. And once we got him, we have to go back down a set of stairs with a bunch of those little dudes, the dregs with fire swords, and you're also going to have your hoplite. Now these guys should just kind of die. The Phalanx, the hoplite, the little blob over there with the shield, he's going to chuck spears at you. The only real way to damage him, to cause damage to him, is from behind. You could certainly kill him from the front, but how long do you want to spend fighting the guy, right? How many times do you want to whack on him, essentially, is what it's going to come down to. So on your way down, we're going to go on out to the right, pick this up. That's the other thing too, you're going to go through an area, and especially the first part of every world, enemies aren't really worth much. Like, damn, I cleared a whole area, and I'm going to get like one level. Where you're going to get so many consumable souls, you pretty much just pop all those at the end of the area, and that's going to really help, stack up some levels. And then as you work your way deeper into the world, enemies are going to be worth a lot more. Obviously, it has to be an early, it's not going to cost as much for level development. So you're going to notice I'm getting upgrade shards from the hoplites. There's actually a exceptionally good early game farm for a bunch of basic upgrade materials. So if you're trying to bring up physical weapons, we're going to be able to do that like right at the start. So we'll be able to get access to that farm very quickly. So like I said, there's a few farms we're going to show you guys within the first few episodes for healing, for upgrades, and then eventually one for souls too. And it's essential to a playthrough. So either way, guys, getting ready for the Phalanx. So like I said, those little guys with the shields, that's the hoplites. Phalanx is like a big version of him. So it just looks like a really big pile of poo, kind of. And he's got like 30 of these guys attached to him in a 360. They're all just kind of coming off of him. So they're all going to be chucking spears at you. They have shields. So we're going to throw fire bombs, dwindle their numbers big time. We're going to go ahead from there, buff our weapon up with fire, whatever you have, whatever you want to use, because that's also going to really target their weakness. So like I said, we have 7 fire bombs. That's enough, Like I said, none's enough, so that'll be fine. But also going in here with extra healing, so we can get this in one shot. Then we'll do our fire bombs and then pine resin, so we can buff up our weapon as well. That way, no matter what, we're causing fire damage. Now, as soon as you take out all the hoplites, the boss is helpless. He has no way to harm you aside from them. So with them dead, you just beat on them. With that being said, I would try to go around the arena, make sure you picked up any upgrade mats that may have dropped before you kill the boss, because I don't know if when it reloads it'll still be there, and that can give you a bunch of items, right? But either way, guys, with that, let's go on in, start throwing our fire bombs, and put them down. Yeah, like I said, they will really just start chucking spears. So don't get too comfortable. Use the pillars, right? They're going in a little bit more heavy than they usually would. Back up. Try to stay close to full health as you can, obviously. And I got 2 more. You notice we did get we got a handful of them. So if you get behind them, and that's all you want to do. Whoever's left, just keep circling whoever you can until you get behind. Like right there, just look for those openings. Now the spears are going to hit you. They're going to do a decent amount of damage, right? So be very cautious of this. I mean, you got the boss door unlocked. You start back from the start, the very first checkpoint, you can run straight to them, but still, we want to try to get it first go. We've done this whole area without any deaths, so let's not ruin our smooth run. We have other things we want to have time to do. Just, be cautious, be aggressive where you can, right? It's a healthy mix of the two. Die. Like I said, you can't really cause much damage from the front, but with the fire on, it does help. Like this guy just... both of them. Easy kills. Keep circling. You notice most of them are just dying in one hit if we attack from the backside with fire. They are. Most of them just one hit, that's it. Alright, you little biatch. That's okay. See, that's why I said try to save more firebombs, because since we only had 7, and I didn't line up the best shots, the most optimal shots, a lot of them are left. Typically, not this many are actually left. Might be like 10 or 15, but this is quite a bit here. I'd save at least 1 fire buff for the actual boss itself. You don't have to, but it does cut a lot of time off. There we go. We're dwindling them. We're dwindling them. I can say this is a rough go, but it does typically go a lot smoother when you have more fire bombs and you aim them better at the very least. Alright, now if you look around, there's going to be upgrade mats, typically. Just depends on your chance, your luck. We do still have on the Providential Ring, so that's going to add to it. Sharp Stone's more for dex weapons, but still. Now you want a 2-hand, because when you 2-hand you get a 1.5 multiplier, meaning that's for weapon requirements too. You find a really beefy strength weapon, 30 strength requirement, you can wield it with 20 strength if you're 2-handing, but it also adds damage, right? So something to keep in mind. So as always, when you kill a boss, you're going to regain your humanity, so it's going to put you back in human form, which means we could be invaded, and then it's going to fuck up our world tendency, right? So anytime you kill a boss, you always interact with the checkpoint I leave behind so you can get their soul. Then we're going to hop on back to the Nexus. So that's going to actually give you guys access to a few things. Leveling up, for 1. And for 2, we're going to have access to all of our other worlds. So we're actually going to do pretty short episode for episode 3 where we just run through all the worlds, get you guys better starting gear and starting items. We don't want to do a bunch of stuff because we have to actually do the areas, but we're going to get you guys better set up for the journey. So like I said, with the Phalanx taken out, we have access to all that. Aside from that, you will be able to level up from her, but she's going to send you up top to talk to someone called the Monumental. So let's go ahead and exhaust her dialogue. The Monumental awaits. So it's not the first stairs, that just does a quick loop through your arc stones. It's going to be the stairs behind. And we're going to take that all the way up. There's actually, I think, altogether 4 items that are kind of stashed around the Nexus that will help you along your journey as well. We want to go all the way up. Well, almost all the way up. You'll see. Now, when you get to the top, there's actually some pretty cool stuff up here. So, for one, you're going to have the monumental, but you also have the leaderboard. This is telling you what players have killed the most demons, who's invaded the most players, who did the fastest speed runs. There's actually a bunch of statues, and it'll show you the players. It's actually pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, as you get on up, eventually, you're going to see this to the right. It's not all the way up top, right? So it's like halfway up, a little bit more. Now, when you get to this balcony, you can either go to the right or to the left. So, these are monumentals. These are just the ones that have died, lore-wise. You're going to notice over here is nothing. And if you go the other way, right here on your left will be the monumental you actually need to talk to. Now, talking to him will unlock being able to level up to, I'm going to call her the Firekeeper, right? I played so much Dark Souls, so I'm just going to forget to call her right name. Anyways, so she's going to be the Firekeeper. Either way, you're going to get a cutscene giving you more into the story and the lore. As always, I do, recommend you guys enjoy it in your own time. We just don't have time to cover it. Now, either way, guys, after talking to him, if you just keep going all the way down that right side, and come all the way down here, you get a very important consumable, Stone of Ephemeral Eyes. This is what you need to gain humanity. Now, we do want to stay in soul form so we get to pure white, but when we want to do our pure black world tendency events, we need to keep gaining humanity and getting ourselves killed to trigger this. So we really want to stock these up as best as possible. Now, from there, we can run all the way down. And it just brings you right back up. And we can take a left here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and show this off. So instead of going back down, we're going to go ahead and show you guys the leaderboard because it is pretty cool for a few reasons. For one, it's interesting, like how many demons has this guy killed, or who did the best speed run, right? So like I said, it's a leaderboard. So touch store Pantheon. But the other reason I like it, because if you're a first-time player, you're doing like physical, you're doing magic, you could actually look at other people's builds, see what weapons they're using, and how they're allocating their stats to give you guys, some kind of idea of what you may want to do. Like over here, this is obviously going to be a magic build with some strength too. Now, they're level 70, so they got 25 health, 24 intelligence, 40 magic, 20 strength, 14 dex. This is very, very, very solid build, but it lets you know what weapons they're using, casting weapons. You get to see there's some pretty cool stuff coming your way. Then you can also see how they allocated their stats. So I did want to show it off for that reason, but it's not really like necessary for the walkthrough. I just, it's to the game. It's something cool. So when I do walkthroughs, if there's any information about a game, I share anything and everything. That goes from builds to just cool things along the way, right? So this is just kind of goes with that. And I'm also double checking while we're here, make sure I didn't miss any items in my notes. Highly doubtful, but we're here, and this is something that we're never going to go up to again. Now I do know if you go out here, there's something you can get. Yeah, far left side. Like I said, there's a few items. This is the only other thing I found in my notes up here, but like I said, this is a leaderboard. This is not somewhere we're typically going to come, right? So there's your second stone. Now, when we want to do pure black world tendency, we're typically going to have to use about 7 of those stones per world. So it's going to take a lot. And then we're even going to have to show you guys a farm to get more. Fortunately, it doesn't come for late game, but that's when we'll need it anyways. A lot of our tendency events are much later in the game, as you want to clear out most of the world first, or all of that world before you do your tendency events, because you have to kill all the bosses to get to pure white regardless. So we do need to kill ourselves, get in soul form, and then do some trick drops so we can get you guys the rest of the items. However, let's go and grab some levels before we do that. We're going to be, backstepping, trying to find our souls, and, all that stuff. There's really only 2 more items. One's a decent soul item, and then one's like late game healing. So we talked about this before. Early game, try to only use Crescent Moon or Half Moon Grass like as an emergency. I'm going to show you a farm really soon to get a bunch of half moon, but anything else you're trying to put in storage, like late moon, full moon, dark moon, this is like for late game when you get, a big health bar, like these. We don't want to use these. We don't want to use these. And we want to put all this stuff in storage. Jade hair ornament, don't worry about. It's nice to keep one of these in case of emergency. These are definitely getting put up. Anything you're not using, guys. Y'all know the drill. These are fast travel items. You do need one for the very end of the game. So essentially, after you beat the final boss, there's a cutscene they'll play. It sends you New Game Plus. It's the end of the game. However, if you fast travel out first, you can get a really cool weapon. So we got to keep one for every build. Now, if you're doing a faith build, we'll have a spell will allow us to fast travel, but not everybody's going to do the recommended build. So we got to keep that in mind. I want to make sure I mention it so you guys don't, kind of screw yourselves over. Boss Soul, we'll go ahead and save. This is going to get you a weapon that's really not that good. It's good in PvP, but still, I want to be able to actually show you guys all the spells and weapons and miracles you can make from boss souls. Then once we cover it, if I'm not going to make anything, then I'll pop it, but I want to make sure you guys can actually see everything. So I'm going to go ahead and store it. If you guys are, curious of what each soul is for, save it. And in general, I would never pop boss souls, guys. For one, most of them, well, they're worth a little bit. They're not worth that much to justify missing out on a spell you need for your platinum trophy, a miracle you need for your platinum trophy, or a really powerful weapon that may help you along the way. So either way, guys, let's go and put up the stuff we're not using. The bastard sword's great. I don't have the stats just yet. This is good. We'll put it in storage. Like I said, anything we're not using, we're putting in storage. We could always come here and pull it out of storage. So it's, it's just not a big deal. Rings are good. Everything else seems to be fine. So let's go ahead and pop all of our souls. Like I said, you're going to get a lot of levels from this stuff. Just picking these up in the world. Further in the world you are, the more they're going to be worth. So that's almost 12,000. Which isn't much right now, but levels aren't much right now either. So white ice stone, blue ice stone. This is multiplayer stuff.
What is it? Seek a sound of power.
So make sure you go to yes. By default, that will be on no. You have to scroll through it. So you do want to seek the power of souls. Should be obvious. So what I'm going to do is just try to get our weapon requirements done. Even though we're going to be going more of a faith build, we're still going to want to use weapons. And even if we switch to scaling to faith, you still have got to meet the weapon requirements. So since we're going to be using miracles and not spells, we're not really going to have ranged options. So we do want to get that dex to 16 for a bow that's coming up. And even though we're not getting it yet, I would like to make sure we at least have the stats for this. Then we could go over here and go to 20 strength, which does seem high for, a faith build. But our main weapon that does like pure magic damage, it's not going to come for a really long time. So we're going to want to make sure we have access to great swords. Like with that, we could use the damn claymore and make it do magic damage or, whatever we want to do. So I think that's going to be just a really smart idea early on. And then if I feel like our level's behind, I'm going to show you guys a farm. Even though I don't farm for levels, I'll make sure you guys are okay. But I do believe this is going to be smart. So in general, we want to get 30 in vitality. That's enough for the whole game. Intelligence seems to be around 20. Endurance 20 to 30, depending on which armor and weapons you're going to be using. And then faith, we want to make sure we get up, to 30 with that. So we have quite a while to, quite a ways to go here. Now, that's going to carry us for a while, guys, so we can just kind of work on our base stats, get that done, and get that faith high. So for now, and we do want to go in faith before much longer, but for now, I'm kind of thinking just putting 2 in intelligence. And the reason for this, guys, is because with 10 intelligence, we could use heal twice in case you guys don't have the stuff. Although I'm going to get you a bunch of healing items anyways, so, something to keep in mind. But that's what I would do. And at 10, that'll carry us for a while. That's going to carry us for the rest of the game. We don't even have to go back to these. So, just health, stamina, and faith. So we'll probably go like 15, 15, and then bring this to 24, and then just get these done from that point forward. But either way, that's going to at least give us, a lot of weapons and stuff like that we could use.
Art thou finished?
So once we have that, the only other thing we need to do is go ahead and get our soul form. Let's make sure we lose our humanity. Now, in general, if you're not too worried about it, most weapons, as long as you have like 15 strength, 16 dex, you'll be able to use a lot of things. So don't feel like you have to get up to that 20, guys. You know what I mean? But it's going to give us access to some very powerful weapons. As like I said, our faith weapons don't come for a long time. So just having access to some strong physical weapons would be nice. And it's only 20, I mean, we started at like 14. It's only 6 levels, which can be a lot in this game. But I think, it's going to be just smart to hold us over. We have a lot of this game to do. World Tendency events. We're going to slowly take our time, clear our areas in full. So, our levels are going to come. Plus, we're not going to have to really worry about buying anything because I'm going to show you a farm. So we can always buy the stuff we want. We don't have to actually use our, hard-earned souls on this. So now you got your souls. You are in soul form. So when we go to our next area, we're not worried about tendency. Now there are two items. One's on the far left here, and one's on the far right, where you see these little blocks. So we'll start on the far side first, and it's almost like a little, I hate to call it drop puzzle, but these trick drops. We just gotta figure out the right pattern. So it's pretty obvious. You just kind of go to the left and go all the way that way, and then eventually you're gonna see this ledge. Now the thing of it is, you have to just barely walk out. If you go too far, too fast, you're gonna miss it. So right there, exceptionally close, and we even took it very slowly, right? But it doesn't have to be hard. It's just kind of a pain. We'll roll on off. It's your soul item, like I said, it's pretty decent for where you are now. Now we can go all the way up and do it again. And this will clear the Nexus in full, so we don't have to worry about no other run around here for items you may have missed or anything like that. So now we're going to do the closer side. So same thing. You're kind of just going against the way you dropped, right? So drop, kind of turn around, drop. Oh, we took the wrong side. Son of a bitch. Let's see. I'm pretty sure we're just going to die. No. Okay. Yeah, if you drop the other side, the drop wouldn't be as far. But as you see, it's still, fall damage is wild in this game. Usually in any Souls game, like falling half as far as you fall here will just fucking obliterate you. However, it's pretty friendly. You're still going to die quite a bit from falling, but still, you have a little bit more freedom with it. So with taking out the phalanx, guys, we already told you before, all your magic NPCs will be on the right, and your faith NPCs will be on the left. Now, none were here yet because we didn't start the game. And even though we didn't meet these NPCs anywhere, they just kind of show up. So this is your basic merchant for magic. So since we don't have 10 stats of magic, we will not be able to talk to them. Now, even for our build, we are going to want to put those 4 levels of magic so we can get access to some spells that will help us through certain areas. Also give us access to magic buffs and, things of that nature. So we are going to, when we get the farm, we'll farm those 4 levels because it doesn't go with our build. I don't really think that's, trying to take a shortcut. It's just helping us with spell requirements for defensive measures. But until you have 10 magic, he's not going to talk to you. Now, if you are doing a magic build, he's got some really good stuff, even though that's more basic merchant for spells. Really good stuff. I'd pick it all up. If you roll on down, just go and exhaust his dialogue. Nothing's really going to come of it for quite a while. There we go. And here's your basic faith merchant. Now, he has some really good stuff, but once again, until I show you guys the farm, we're not going to waste our souls here because this shit is expensive. So evacuate is fast travel back to the Nexus whenever you want. Really good for farming, and really good just for when you're maybe going for a weapon run and you work your way down, like World 2. We go way down to a mines. It's very much a maze if you don't know what's going on, and it's going to be much easier to just use a spell to evacuate back to the Nexus than it is to be getting yourself killed and lose a bunch of souls. So that's just really nice for the whole playthrough. Hidden Soul, hide oneself from Black Phantoms, Antidote, cure poison. So all of this stuff is going to be necessary, and we do want it for our build. Now, if you're doing a magic build, you're going to bring up Intelligence, which does get you more mana, but that will be for your spell slots. But interestingly enough, with the Faith build, you have to actually bring up the Faith stat, the damage stat for more miracle slots. Regardless, we still need to make sure that we get Intelligence so we have more ability to cast our spells. But either way, guys, with that is going to wrap us on up for this episode. So in between episodes, as always, make sure durability is good. If you want to get an upgrade, go for it, but where I'm taking you to get weapons next episode, so I don't really recommend it. Aside from that, definitely make sure you have your storage caught up and you guys are ready. So episode 3 is going to be rather short, guys. As mentioned, we're going to go on through. We're going to get you guys some pretty decent start and stuff, and really just get set up. And then we'll be picking up where we left off and actually pushing forward with World 1 a little bit more before we really start going through the worlds. Now, with that being said, there's a very specific way we want to do things. You can do them in any order, and we're going to, for the most part, kind of keep it even. 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, but sometimes it is more beneficial to kind of see a world all the way through, like with World 2, because it gets us our special blacksmith and boss weapons, or World 1, pushing that a little bit further, gets us a really good farm so we can actually get plenty of healing items right at the start. But aside from that, we'll for the most part, be keeping those, pretty evenly. Like I said, very specific way we have this planned because I feel, this is going to be best for anyone that is newer to the game. Make sure we all have upgrades for our weapons. Pretty much every zone has very specific upgrade materials. So if you're doing magic and you're doing this road all the way through, this road all the way through, that road all the way through, you're not ever going to upgrade your weapon. So we took all of that into consideration so we could all stay with strong builds. We could all be able to upgrade our weapons, and we could all get some of the best items for our builds. But either way, we should all be coming out of this, in the next few episodes, really set up for the journey. But with that, we are going to wrap it here. So y'all stay tuned. Please subscribe for more walkthrough, and we will catch you back here shortly.